never in a million years did I think I would feel that Welfin was actually on some epic shit. Like, I was like, Welfin, why are you doing this, bro? Why are you being so beast right now? You're not supposed to be this hype. So I'm going to let you know right now, at the moment, I'm a little bit out of what the fuck regarding the material in this episode. Some of the things that happened, some things that went down in this episode. Some characters surprised me, some things that happened surprised me, and ultimately I'm just a little bit like at a loss regarding, again, some of the stuff that happened. So first Pita, and now Youpi. Now let's talk about Youpi's death in this episode. So for starters, I was like, yo, Welfin, you got some balls. I ain't gonna lie, he surprised the shit out of me. This character, if you notice, little by little, he's actually progressively getting better, more interesting, and overall becoming a bit of a better character in general than he was. And like, I'm actually liking the character now. I'm kind of like rooting for him when I see him now, especially some of the things that we found out within this episode regarding him. But when he went up against Youpi, at first he was just like playing his role, but to see the amount of character that he's built up to the point where he's no longer just scared as hell about everything, he's no longer questioning everything. I think once he got those answers that he was seeking regarding Jaido and a lot of, like, you know, just his past and everything, I think that was the confirmation he needed to build up some of the courage that he ultimately has now. And that's what it was, why he decided to say, Youpi! And he kept on, like, you know, questioning Youpi and just like, I don't care no more. And when he was in that stance to attack, I was like, you got some crazy balls. But remember, that is still a Royal Guard. Even though he looks a little chibi right now, he's still a Royal Guard. Now, the way Youpi went down, first of all, it's really unclear whether or not Welfin, like, you know, blasted him with his missiles or whatever. And to be fair, I honestly wouldn't doubt that even if he did hit him with those missiles, it still wouldn't have done shit. I think solely what happened to him was, you know, basically that he's dying right there. You see that, like, there's blood coming out of his nose and, like, you just see him passed out on the floor. So you can argue that maybe Welfin did in some of the job or whatever, but to be honest with you, this death right now with Youpi, first of all, the way the episode kind of went around it, it was just kind of like, it felt like it wasn't as important as I felt this should have been. And, you know, I feel that way regarding the content in the manga, and I feel that way regarding, you know, the anime as well going into it. I was just like, Youpi just died. Like, if you compare, like, Pito's death to his death, Pito's death had me like, ah! What the fuck? His death was kind of like, I feel sad. Like, goddamn, Youpi, like, you actually built up some character. I actually enjoyed seeing you for a while. And he just kind of went out with, like, blood in his nose and, like, he passed out from, I guess, basically, like, he seemingly is sick or something. So that kind of, like, had me a little bit like, wow. And then the way they just kind of, like, so Pouf reported it to the king, and that was about it. And I feel like I wish there was more impact and a little bit more of importance placed on that, because it felt like he's one of the Royal Guards, but he went out in a different way than I ultimately would have liked. But at the very least, we still got some good progression in that aspect. Like, holy shit, one of the Royal Guards is down again now. There's only one left at this point. You got the king, and then you have one of the Royal Guards, Pouf, left, and you got the evil bastard that's left. Because I would say that out of the 3 Royal Guards, Pouf is definitely the worst regarding just, you know, he's an evil fucker. So the way that went down regarding his death, whether it be that Welfin, you know, aided in it, you know, just attacking the living fuck out of him, is good in the character development for Welfin, and I'm actually really, like, looking at him more than just, he's a okay, you know, soldier or whatever. He's actually, like, you got balls, bro, and I'm liking shit right now. But the way Youpi went out is just like, how do I feel about that? Like, it's crazy that he just died, and nonetheless at Welfin's feet, regardless of what contribution he had to it, because you can see that all of them have some sort of, you know, sickness of some sort. You see that the king, he has the blood coming down, or the, you know, purple blood, whatever is blood at the end of the day. And Pouf at the end of the episode, you see it as well. So you can assume that a fate similar to what happened to Youpi is facing them as well. You can definitely assume that. And just ultimately, Youpi's death is like, again, it's crazy one of them died. And if it's gonna be in a certain way, I'd rather it be that it makes a little bit more sense than, like, they find some way to rope him down and, you know, they finally strike him one big one when somebody like Youpi shouldn't die like that. So in that aspect, it makes sense, but it just felt like there should have been a lot more impact to Youpi's death. But we also find out a few more things in this episode. First of all, again, with Welfin, we find out his name, his human name. We find out that there was a connection. He was friends with Icalgo in a past life, and is really making some of these minor characters, or what felt like minor characters, it felt like sometimes, you know, oh, well, this character is like moving. They're becoming more important and getting a little bit more interesting because we're finding out a little more about NGL as well. Gyro might still be alive, but I'm really curious what type of importance overall in the story Gyro will have at some given point. Whether he'll be, you know, just overall a big thing, whether he'll be, like, I think at this point, the way it's been built up with Gyro, it would be a little bit of a letdown if he doesn't become something very major or a key player in some given point during the story, because the way they, like, you know, again, they're bringing him up, and it was like, he was shown a little bit in the beginning of the arc. You know, we get a little bit of his history and whatnot. We hear that NGL's been attacked. Then we didn't hear nothing for a long time. And now he's slowly being brought back up. And we're seeing Welfin's goal being exposed. And I felt like this episode, out of everything, even though we have Youpi's death, we have a couple different things going on, Welfin's character development was one of the broadest things that we got in this episode, in the sense that he is just like, he's becoming a beast. He's learning who he wants to be, what he wants to do, his goals. He's learning a little bit of his own backstory. And I was just like, good shit, but just too much what the fuck. And then we get that bombshell that Palm reveals basically the king will die soon. And I was a little bit like Icalgo. I was like, fuck you. What you on about when I first seen that? And it just kind of explains, again, a little bit more about, you know, what happened to Youpi, what's happening to Pouf, and what's happening in the king. We'll get probably, you know, more information as it goes on. But as of right now, this episode, it just really felt like, what the fuck? How am I supposed to feel? It's like, Youpi died, but it felt a little bit anticlimactic the way he went out, because it was just kind of like very quick and subtle, and it was just like, fuck, you know, I wanted him to go out in like a blaze of glory in a sense, but overall we still got some good progression and very good character development on Welfin nonetheless. I know, right? Welfin, motherfucker that I was cracking jokes on a few months ago. But ultimately, I'm gonna give this episode a what the fuck out of 10, because I don't know what to make of it right now. It's like, I want to feel like, holy shit, Youpi's dead, but I don't feel like that in a way, because it just kind of feels a little bit like, oh, it should have been bigger, it should have been more impactful, it should have been like a full-on type of material thing, and that's not to say that that's the anime's fault. I guess it's just more so that I'm a little bit disappointed in the material itself, the way Youpi went out, because I just felt like he should have got a little bit more respect than that. But let me know what you guys think, first of all, regarding Youpi's death. How do you feel about that? Do you feel like it should have been more impactful? Do you feel as though it was just kind of like, what the fuck happened? Are you scratching your head right now as to what happened to Youpi on that ground? What do you think about Wolfen? Do you feel like me, where it's just kind of like, holy fuck, this character's actually becoming really cool and really interesting, when I didn't really give a fuck about him prior to these past few episodes? And just overall thoughts of the episode again. You like it? You hated it? What do you think about the death of Youpi? That's all I have for this review. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you liked anything I had to say or enjoyed the video, drop me a like. I'd greatly appreciate it. And if you haven't subscribed, you can do so as well. That'd be awesome. I'm ForneverWorld, and as always, people, have an awesome day.